Hey YouTube, this is Kevin Bolin of Bolin Small Engine, and today I just wanted to show off a few of the tools that you would need, or well, shall I say that I actually use to do the honing jobs that I do here at home for people. I gotta be honest, most of the engines that I see are 28 cubic inch and above. Howsoever, there are a few, push mores that I've done this way. I really like the Sunnen 111 hone. I don't believe in flex hones. I know that you can deglaze cylinders with them and maybe put a crosshatch pattern in, but I just don't think that they're to the quality that the Sunnen 111s are. Stones that I actually use are AN100s, and I run these dry. I also use an AN200, which once again I also run dry. Now the 300s, they recommend that you run those dry, but for me, I like to add a little bar saw to the AN300 because I think honestly when you run the bar saw with the AN300s that it's good enough. Okay, of course, you can run the 500s and get a nice polishing job, but if you want an engine that's going to break in pretty quick and do what it's supposed to, and I've personally never had any problem, okay, not polishing them, the 300 works just fine. And of course, as I said, I run a little bar saw with the AN300s. The next tool that I'll tell you need is a really good set of micrometers. As you've seen earlier in some other videos that I have, I use these quite a bit with the standards, but a good set of mics is a must. I really can't stress that you need a good dial bore gauge. Okay, before dial bore gauges came out, there was telescoping gauges. They work just fine, but it's just a lot more work. Okay, these have kind of got shoveled back on the shelves in most of your small engine mechanics shops. I do use mine from time to time, but I'll be honest, the dial bore gauge is superior and a lot easier to use. This particular dial bore gauge I got on eBay, I don't think I gave any more than $100 for it. Okay, and it's exceptionally well built dial bore gauge. I have compared it to my boss's, and the measurements are identical. Okay, so I will say that this is a good piece of equipment. Once again, here's another dial bore gauge, or I'm sorry, it's actually just the dial. Yeah, dial indicator. That's what I thought. A good set of calipers is a must. I've showed these in the other video, but I've had these for many years as well. A lot of people neglect to understand that when you're using a set of these micrometers, that you cannot clamp them with a standard set of vices. I can't begin to tell you how many shops I've been to and see that they'll clamp them with just a regular vise. It's not a good idea. Okay, it will affect your measuring. Okay. So trust me, don't do it. Grinders makes a vise especially designed for micrometers. I would recommend that you purchase it. I've got this one on eBay. I think I gave $35 for it, and I have to admit that I've had it for many years. As you can see, it works exceptionally well. Now, these little stamps, the number stamps, they're not necessary, but I'll tell you what I like to use them for. I use the stamps when I'm marking each of my cylinders, cylinder heads, valve covers, depending of course upon what type of valve cover it is, connecting rods. They're a tool that you can use and make your life a lot easier if you're trying to distinguish one part from another. And like I said, on your connecting rods and cylinders, if you're wanting to identify which connecting rod goes with which cylinder, it really comes in handy. The next tool I'm going to mention, which you can use of course with the Sunnen 111, is the DeWalt drill. I've got this drill actually from, I think it was the 127 yard sales that we have here in Kentucky. I didn't give that much for it, and it works wonderfully. Gosh, I've used it for just about everything around here at the house. I do of course have one that my wife bought me. It's brand new over here in the box, but you know, I figure I'll get the best out of this one before I lay into the one that my wife bought me, although I haven't used it. Trying to see if there's anything that I've neglected. Oh yes. When a lot of people neglect to understand, when you putting your engines back together, okay, you really need to make sure that your valve covers don't leak, okay. Also heads, okay, you want to make sure that they're not warped, because basically that's going to cause a failure. This is just a valve cover. I wish that I'd had a head here, but I get a lot of work, okay, to be done on heads, and I cannibalize a lot of the parts that I have around here. So unfortunately I don't have a head here at the present moment. I do have some on some engines outside that I'm going to take apart, but that's for a later day. It's pouring the rain outside. So basically the reason that I'm showing this is this right here is a surface plate. You can buy these surface plates on eBay. I don't know, I think I gave $170 for the surface plate. There are cheaper ones on there, but this particular one, I just really like it, and you know, it's a really good surface plate. It also came with everything, you know, the little stand and everything, which if you buy one, it's not. You're going to have to build that, so you know, it's kind of a blessing. I've also shown the feeler gauges, and the reason being is because you want to use the surface plate, your valve cover, and a set of feeler gauges so you'll know if there's any warpage. And as you can see, I'm pushing this in and it's not sliding in. So this particular valve cover would be okay, and I'm using this 2000s feeler gauge. So you know, it's basically just to show you guys that if you're curious about warpage being in a head, a valve cover, you can set it down on the surface plate and of course use your feeler gauges and find out whether or not that your head's warped. The micrometer, I'm sorry, the micrometer torque wrench that I have here, I've had for many years. The only reason that I'm showing this is a lot of people have those German specs, okay, when they're putting something back together, you know, Guten type, and I would not recommend that, especially with Briggs and Kohler, because you're going to break bolts, or worse, you're going to strip threads, especially in the aluminum. The way that they build these engines anymore, it's terrible. So I'll tell you that there are torque specifications in the books that you'll have, and I recommend that you follow those. A good torque wrench is just invaluable, okay? You need one. As I said, the surface plate, you know, it's an optional tool. You can use a mirror. I've heard of people taking mirrors and setting them down and then putting their parts on the mirror and using that. But I think it's just, you know, second quality compared to a surface plate. I neglected to mention this particular tool. I'm glad I actually saw it. This is a ridge reamer. You can use this to cut the rough edges off the top of the cylinder after it's been honed. I rarely ever use it, but you know, there are times that it comes in pretty handy. At this point, I think I pretty well covered all the tools that a person would need if they were going to do a honing job. Just keep in mind that these are the tools that I use. I'm in no way telling you that they're better than everybody else's. I'm just saying that they're what I use. I've had great success, and basically, if you use these tools, you're not going to run into any problems, okay? I know there are people out there that would argue that you know, the flex hones do a good job, okay? I'm not trying to diss them. I'm just trying to say honestly that the flex hones are not to the quality that you see here with the AMs, okay? And you can pretty much ask anybody, they're going to tell you the same thing, okay? I will tell you that a bottle brush hone does a wonderful job on honing cylinders. My opinion, the bottle brush hones even do a better job than the Sunnen 111. But that's just to put your crosshatch patterns in, okay? It's not meant to do a full honing job. It's just meant to put a crosshatch pattern in. So, as I said, your bore hone here, the Sunnen 111 bore hone, in my opinion, is superior to all the others. But that's just my opinion. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and turn the video off. I think I've pretty well covered everything. If there's anything that you guys think that I should have included, give me a comment and I'll put it in the next video.